Good afternoon, Jan.
Michael, good afternoon. Good morning for you.
Yes, indeed. Good to see you again.
Yeah, last week it was a hectic week and it's still not over.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I I put some wires up here very quickly.
No.
No, one of the things in meanwhile they last week they came to install fiber here.
Oh, right, yes.
Very good, everything
Uh-huh.
is working fine. The only thing they are doing network translation on their side.
Hmm.
Yeah, very good. But so you cannot open any ports anymore. So
Yes.
all incoming traffic, and it's very nice to talk to a client service where you only have marketing people,
Oh, yeah.
and every day you call them back, the problem is still not resolved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do the necessary. It will be solved in 4 to 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Next day you call back, still not solved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
it's
one of
just
the
it's just a little configuration file somewhere, and it's just
no.
getting the information to the right person to edit that file.
Yeah, it's so easy, but just to have the right man on the
Uh-huh.
right place.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so
Well,
I'm on that fiber anyway now.
yeah, yeah.
The rest of
The
the systems are, are on the backup line, but I'm on the fiber. I don't need that network translation for this Discord.
Mhm.
So it should work very fast because
Yeah.
now we have 500 megabit up and 500 megabit down. While
Nice.
before we were on 10 down and one up. So uh,
Yeah, 500 will do nicely. Yeah,
yeah,
the video looks great. So,
and it's symmetric, and that's good.
yes.
500 up as well. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Well, I have a couple of interruptions coming up. So next week I will not be here, and then I'll be here for the week after that. But then I will not be here for the week after that. So we've got
So
our
next week you will not be there.
correct.
Okay. So no, yes, no, yes. Okay.
Yep.
Now on my side there will also be a few interruptions. Next week I could be there,
Mm.
but okay. And the week after I will probably be there, but not here.
Oh, okay.
There. No, I will be traveling. My wife needs attention.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
So
Okay.
yeah.
And so you might dial in while you're on the road, or just go ahead and take
No,
a break.
no, we will just be renting somewhere
Yeah.
or being in a hotel or something.
Good.
So I take
Good.
my laptop with me. So it will be nicer behind me than usual.
Nice.
Uh,
Nice. Hopefully there's a really nice view there. You can arrange it to have a good background.
it's colder than here.
Mm.
It's more to the north because actually we have to go and see my family in
Oh,
Belgium for one day, and so my wife wanted to make a trip out of it, which
absolutely.
means
Yeah.
from the 6th to the 22nd we will be traveling. But
Hmm.
okay,
Okay. So somewhere in there,
Mm,
I think I'll drop another State of Jinaga video. Uh,
okay,
so I'm thinking that I can cover the replicator as a service with the read and the write endpoints. So show you how to manage data in your replicator,
okay,
which is something we've
uh,
covered many times, but not in just one succinct video.
yeah, um, yeah. I the last 2 weeks I did nothing at all for
Hmm.
Jinaga. I even didn't see your video from last week yet.
Oh, okay.
Uh, so it's a little bit of disappointment for me that I didn't. But okay.
Yeah, it was really funny last week. The algorithm uh, definitely wanted to promote the stream. I had a few people showing up on stream and watching live, and then afterward I got about 10 times the engagement on the video than on videos past. So so yeah, I was yeah the algorithm was doing something. Um, but yeah, I was kind of pleased with that. The content of that last video um, was, I was trying to do a demonstration, and of course things don't always go right in a demonstration, um, and so I wanted to quickly follow that one up. It says, oh, okay, got a lot of views on this, but things didn't go well, so let me put out a follow up video, um,
Mm.
and that one actually turned out pretty funny, I thought. Um, okay, so I thought I had all the problems fixed, and then I basically fixed them, live during the video and edited it down. So it's a pretty funny
Mm.
one. But
Okay.
yeah, the
I
algorithm
will.
went away, and I didn't see all the engagement on that follow up. Ah,
Mm. But okay,
yeah,
next week I have a chance to catch up with then,
yep,
because I will still be busy for a few days. But after that, it should calm down a little bit.
very nice, very
So
nice.
I got a mail from GitHub that you still checked in a few things a few minutes
I
ago.
did, yes, yes, yeah. So in true historical modeling fashion, I just barely got
Mm.
something working last night, and I was like, woohoo, go to bed. And then, so this morning, I said, okay, let's get that published out to NuGet. Let's get everything wired up. So, as of just a couple of minutes before starting the stream, I think I've got everything in motion. But we will
Oh, that's gonna be excited.
we will try it out and see.
Anyway, GitHub is making me happy and frustrated at the same time.
Hmm.
When I get a message, I'm happy that with progress. I'm frustrated that I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, well, the next bit of
Uh,
progress after this will be to actually publish the SQL package. So
okay.
so yeah, I want to. So as getting everything ready through authorization, um, or yeah, authentication is what we're looking at today, and then the authorization stuff is what I demonstrated last time. So we got the authorization rules, got the distribution rules. So all of that is in place now, hopefully. And then so now I should be able to build a working application and then turn on SQL local storage and see if that continues to work.
Okay, so have a provider for SQL local storage, the SQL Express from long
Oh,
ago.
no, I'm sorry, SQLite. Yeah, I misspoke.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay,
so your SQLite stuff. Um,
okay.
yep, yep. So
I thought you, yeah.
no, no. So after that, you should have all the
Mm,
tools you need to start
yeah.
building out your model and
Mm,
putting it into an app.
yeah. No, I still had to do that caching inside, but okay, it does work, but
Yeah,
performance will be not optimal at all. Um,
yeah, yeah. I
and
think
there were still some,
I'd like to go ahead and get it out there, get it published even
yeah,
before the caching is ready.
yeah, because there are more optimizations to be done.
Hmm.
I didn't look not at all, but a little bit. But I saw, for example, you can do some prepare statements in SQLite.
Oh, nice.
It's like a kind of pre-compilation of the SQL statements, and also that we could use to improve performance.
Yes,
I
yes. I
think
love
I
that.
think we will do the caching first, then finally start some applications, and then see where we get and
Yeah,
do make some improvements as we go.
yeah. Excellent. All
Okay,
right. Well,
explain what you were trying to do and uh, where Murphy hit you.
yes. Let's see if we have all this running. Okay, that's that, and that is there. Okay. All right. Yeah. So we are back in Blog Maui, and um, here is the application. There was an error when I was last trying to log in because I canceled it. Said let's try the very first time on stream. Why not? Okay, so we've got our login button, and we can hit that, and we are directed to sign in with Apple. So far so good. I've already saved my password for Apple, and then it does the sign in, two-factor authentication. Allow that. All right, I trust this little emulator. Okay, so we're using your blog MAUI account with your Apple ID. Okay. Then it brings us back, and boom, you are logged in. It didn't clear the error message. That's still the old error message. But hey, we are logged in, and so then we can log back
That's
out.
working.
And boom, yes. So let me walk through exactly how that is working. So close all those windows. Let's start with I think it actually starts with the app shell, maybe. Yeah. So far in the app shell, I just have the gatekeeper and the main screen. I'm not actually navigating to the main screen yet, but that's going to be that's going to kind of round it out. But the important thing here is this gatekeeper view. So the gatekeeper is inside of the authentication folder, and we have our gatekeeper page that basically is 3 screens in one. So it's using this this state container from the MAUI community toolkit to basically change state based on this property. So if the state is loading, then we show a little activity indicator. If it's logged out, we have our login button. And if it's logged in, we have our logout button.
Yep.
So the real fun stuff is in the view model. Let me show code behind real quick. So we are creating a gatekeeper view model, setting that up as the binding context, and then calling initialize when it's appearing. So what does the gatekeeper view model do? This is a pretty light little wrapper around the Jinaga config authentication provider. So when you initialize, it's going to initialize and then set the state based on whether you're logged in or logged out. And when you log in, it calls login, and when you log out, it calls logout. So pretty simple little thing. Oh yes, and show all levels of the exception if it's got an inner exception. That's really frustrating if you just show the top level and it's like the information's in there. But so nice little utility function. So yeah, that's a quick little wrapper around the authentication provider. So this is really where the good stuff starts to happen. All right, so inside of Jinaga config, in the previous version of the code, we just initialized the Jinaga client. And so that just called Jinaga client.create and set the HTTP endpoint. That was the only thing that it set up before. But now it can also set up the HTTP authentication provider. So the authentication provider, let me go ahead and navigate to that property inside of Jinaga. So this is inside of the Jinaga NuGet package. We've got our HTTP authentication provider, and what that does, I'm doing jump to implementation. There we go. There's the definition. That sets the request headers on your HTTP request headers. So every time the Jinaga client makes a call to the replicator, it calls this function and sets up your headers. That way you can set your bearer token, your cookies, whatever you need to authenticate. And then we've got a reauthenticate method, which the client calls anytime it gets some kind of an authorization error, or authentication error. So 403, I think. 401, 401, yeah. So yeah, you get a 401 not authorized, and that's just the wrong name for you're not authenticated. And so it calls this and says, okay, do whatever you need to do to reauthenticate. So let's take a look at the implementation that we have here. And this implementation is the OAuth 2 HTTP authentication provider. So when we want to set the headers for OAuth 2, we check to make sure that we have an authentication token. And if we do, we set the bearer header, the authentication header to the bearer token. And then reauthenticates refreshes the token. So what we're doing is we are initially going out to the replicator using OAuth 2 to sign in. That gives us back an access token and a refresh token. And so this, whenever enough time has passed and that access token is no longer valid, that's by default an hour, then
Send again the refresh token to the...
Yep. And so all of this should happen behind the scenes without the user seeing it. They might see a small delay. But yeah, the client, when it gets back a 401, it calls reauthenticate, and then it retries the same request.
And then the save token, that's there we save the new token that we get from the...
Yes. So save token is saving it to secure storage. Okay. So we'll either clear it out if it's null, or we will set using the authentication token key, blog MAUI.authentication token. So we serialize that to JSON and save it out. That way later on we can come back in and load it back from secure storage. And if we get it, then we parse it and keep hold of it. So what that means is that right here when I initialize, then I can first load the token. If I've got it, then I check the expiry date, see if it's within 5 minutes of expiring or already expired. And that's the access token's expiry date. So that would be the 1 hour. Wait a minute. No, actually 1 day. Yeah, set the default to 1 day. Yeah, for a mobile application, I wanted it to be that you log in and you can use your app for that day. And so then if it is expired, then we refresh it right here during initialize and save it back. So by the time you're done initializing, excuse me, if you have an authentication token, it will be valid. So you just return true or false, whether you've got an authentication token, and then the app can respond appropriately. So the login mechanism, so this is using the web authenticator in the MAUI API. So web authenticator is really just something that will launch a browser and navigate to the request URL. and then wait for the browser to redirect you to the callback URL. And then once it does, then it captures all of the information out of that query string parameter and returns to you. So the web authenticator really doesn't do any authentication itself. It's just a browser wrapper. So what we have to do first is build the request URL. Then we call that, wait for the callback URL, and then we can grab the state and the code off of the response. So this is OAuth 2 authorization code flow with Pixie. Once we've got the state and the code, we validate the state. We make sure that this was the state that we sent in, and then we've got the code, and we get the response from the replicator, and it validates the code, make sure, yep, that was the code that matched this this request. So both sides know that they are talking to the same party that started this off. And then once you've got that, turn that response into an authentication token and save it, and you are logged in.
Amazing that you got it working.
Yeah. This this was kind of fun. And in fact, this part right here, we did look at build request URL in a previous stream. This is part of OAuth client. So basically, I implemented the OAuth handshake on the client side because I couldn't find a library that just does that, and it seems like such a library should exist. Yeah, so this just does authorization code flow with Pixie. So it builds up your query string with the all the parameters that you set up, and then it generates a code challenge and a state. So you'll see those two things are randomly generated every time you build the the request URL. That way, when you come back in and you validate the state and make sure that it's the same state as what we sent out, and then when you get the response token, it puts together an HTTP post that has all the information, including the code verifier and the code, so that the replicator can verify that this was the correct caller, and there's the authorization code in order to exchange for an access token.
Yeah.
So the part that's new here is request new token. So this creates an HTTP post that does the refresh token grant. Just passes in the refresh token, does the same, expects the same token response, and turns that back into a token for to be stored in secure storage and used to provide your bearer token. So this code here is pretty general purpose. There is nothing MAUI specific about it. This is the sort of thing that I think really should exist as a NuGet package. I'm trying to figure out, do I want to be the one to own that NuGet package?
Yeah. It's another responsibility.
Yeah. So maybe I'll make another quick search because this one specifically just does Pixie authorization code flow with Pixie. It does no other OAuth 2 flows, and for Jinaga I don't need any others. That is what the replicator does, because that's the proper choice for a client application. A fully a fully autonomous client. If you own the server, then you can do authorization code flow without Pixie, and you can have a client secret on the server. But in the case of somebody using a Jinaga replicator, they don't own the server. They are using the replicator, which then does have a secret. Go back to, where is this guy? Yeah. So we are using this. So it does have a secret that that we configured with Apple. So so this is basically the replicator acting as a client for Apple. So where was that? Yeah, the key is basically the secret. So so yeah, the replicator as a service will store your secret for you when it's the client to Apple. It'll have a different secret that it stores as a client for Google and for Microsoft and for Auth0 and any of the other providers that implement here. But your application as a client to the replicator, it doesn't have its own independent secret because it's an autonomous client application that gets shipped to the user's device. So we have to use Pixie.
But if you publish it as a NuGet package, I think it will not take long before other users ask other possibilities.
Yep. Yep, that is true. So, yeah, on the one hand, I do want to make it really easy for somebody using Jinaga to stand up an application. So, yeah, this, I could just ship this with the sample and say, okay, you own this code, but it has absolutely nothing to do with your, domain, and it's very unlikely to change.
Yeah.
But then, yeah. So if I do publish it, I don't want to publish it under the Jinaga name because it doesn't depend upon Jinaga, and this could be useful for other client applications. But then, yeah, people will say, well, I'm not using Pixie. It doesn't work with this provider. And say, well, yeah, I haven't tested it with that provider. I've tested it with the Jinaga replicator as a service.
For the moment, just leave it as part of the example.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah, and then the next layer up is the authentication provider. So it implements the interface for Jinaga. So this one is Jinaga specific. And this also doesn't really have anything that is specific to your application, but I think there's an even stronger argument for this just being part of your application. So even though I was in library mode when I was writing this code, did all the configuration or configure awaits. Since it's part of the application, you don't actually need the configure await. But yeah, so if at some point I do decide to NuGetize this one, then that raises this question: should this also be a NuGet package? In which case, this would be a Jinaga NuGet package. But then again, maybe if I'm going to publish this just with the features that Jinaga needs, can I just put both of these in the same NuGet package? I don't know.
Why not?
Yeah, then it would have
But,
the Jinaga name.
by the way, NuGetize, is that an existing verb?
Yes.
Or is that going to be the title for this session?
Um, who is it that came up with that? It was goodness, the Xamarin guy. Why am I blanking on his name? Miguel de Gaza. He coined that phrase NuGetize, because he created something called the NuGetizer 3000, which
Okay,
helped you to create NuGet packages.
didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is what it takes now. So now let's assume that that these are NuGetized. Then what is it that you write as an application developer? You own the view model. I'm not going to take that one away. So the view model is a pretty thin wrapper, but you might want your user experience to look different, so you control it there. So yeah, drop that example in your code, drop this example in your code, and then from there, I don't think there's anything else in here that wouldn't be part of the NuGet package, because this is part of that. This is part of that. What is this one? Oh, okay, yeah. This would also be part of your application. This configures your callback scheme for Android applications. So there would be another one for iOS that sets that up. For some reason, right now, this mechanism isn't working properly on Windows, so can't test it on Windows. But yeah, that's what allows us to get that callback whenever we have our token ready. So yeah, not too much that you would have to own if I did put those into a NuGet package. So
you said it's not working on Windows. Why is that not working on Windows?
yeah, so let me kill the app and start it up on Windows. And then I'll also see if I can find the article about it. Okay, so here's our Windows application. So we hit the login button, and then it immediately gives us this error. You need to declare. Well, that's just because I haven't set it up in the app manifest. But if I were to look for AppX manifest XML and actually this was, yeah, AppX manifest XML and the web authentication something. There it is. Web Authenticator. Yep. Yeah, so this is a problem that people have been having for a little bit. James Montemagno popped in there and said, hey, try this. And lots of people trying it. Then we get down to somebody was able to get it to work back in July of last year. Yeah, they're tracking the bug here. Let's see if there's been any.
They didn't solve it.
No.
Lifted.
Yeah, now let's see where we are today. Oh, well, not mincing any words there.
Yeah, disaster.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's .NET MAUI Blazor. I don't think that's completely baked yet, so I'm not going to mix MAUI and Blazor yet. Um, okay. Have they found a workaround? Yes. That's a link back to that workaround that we were just looking at instead, I think. Uh,
Mhm.
but,
So there is a workaround, but the problem is still there.
yeah. Yeah, let's just double check that that's a link back to... Oh, interesting. Okay. I haven't seen this article yet. But this is probably just somebody posting a full write-up of the workaround that they hinted at in the other.
Mhm.
But, yeah. Uh, so yeah, I'll take a look at this, see if this is a simple enough workaround that I'm comfortable leaving it in the example application. But yeah, I'd really like the example app to be, pristine. This is exactly how I recommend you do this stuff. Okay. So yeah, that is authentication. Then after it authenticates, um, the next step would be to get you into your application navigation. So it might be that Gatekeeper just automatically does the navigation to home. I'm not really sure. Um, yeah, so I'll play around with that. Try to get the right behavior, and then maybe I'll get somebody who can write some good XAML to make a really nice looking example application.
Somebody with real graphic skills.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Once you've got that, then you should be able to do this kind of stuff. So here in the post list view model, um, yeah, right here, we do a await login. So we get the user profile, or the user fact, and the profile. Um, and the profile just has the display name. There it is. Yeah, just has the display name. So this is where I'm going to give you the example of querying for the name of the user, and then if it is different from the profile display name, then generate another fact to keep that up to date. And now you've got the user's name inside of your model. So same sort of thing that I've done in the JavaScript version. So I'll make that work there. And then you can actually do your j.watch and look for all of the posts from this person's blog.
Is that profile that comes from where?
Yeah, that comes from the authentication provider. So
Okay.
so since I have this set up to take the replicator as a service, the replicator as a service is then forwarding the profile information that it gets from Apple back through
Yeah.
this mechanism. So configure it at to whatever provider, and then I think we saw this in JavaScript with the replicator as a service portal itself, because you log in with GitHub, and
Mm.
I've got my name configured on my account, but when we tried with you, you saw an error message each time, and so we made it
Yeah, I
use
remember.
either the name or the email address, whichever one is there.
Yeah. But then that profile, you would like to save it as a fact itself afterwards?
Yes.
Just to have it locally stored.
uh, locally, plus so that other people that are collaborating with you know who you are. So they've got this Jinaga user, or this user fact, and um, this would allow them to, without logging in as you, to see, well, what's the name of that user, or at least what do they claim their name to be.
Okay, but that's just the application who saves the profile as a fact. So every application can be different.
Yes. Yes, so you would use a fact type that is your application specific. So we would say blog user name.
Profile.
Yeah. So this would be for a particular user. And then it would be the value and user name, Ray Prior.
Because it can change.
Yep. And then here you would do username is equal to.
Fact.
Yeah. Wait. Let's see if I can just bang this out on the fly. Config dot j dot query. And then we need a specification. So the specification will be given a user. I want to match user facts. So what is it that I want to match? From name in facts of type username, where name dot user is equal to our user parameter. And are you going to guess the next part? That'd be really impressive if it did. And not facts dot any. Yeah. So we need any username. And this username is the next, where next dot prior contains name. And then from there we can select name dots. Well, here we have to actually select the name. That way we get the usernames. Oh, then once I've got that, I need to give it the starting point, and that is going to be the user. So from this, now I have the immutable list of usernames.
Yeah, but we didn't store the username itself yet. No.
Right, yes. So then if the usernames length.
Okay. 0.
Yeah, why is it not... this is an immutable list. So count. Okay. Yeah, so if the count is not equal to 1, or usernames, now that I know that the count is equal to 1, I can actually get the value out of it. Or I could do dot single, show exactly how confident I am. So if that equals user, so if that is not equal to the user, wait, not user, if the single value is not equal to profile display name. Then I can do this. So what's your hold up here? Hold up here is that I can't type while I talk. Okay. So now if that is the case, then I do Jinaga config j.fact, and I do a new username for this user with the value that I want. So there's the display name, and then the prior is equal to usernames,
Yeah.
which I have to do to array. So that means that the first time that I come through here, it's going to be a count of 0. So I just logged in, and I don't know what your name is yet. So that means that's going to save this this username fact. And then subsequently, I'll come through here. The count will be 1, and the display name will be the same. And so everything's good. It won't create any new facts. But then, if you change your display name and your provider, log in again, it'll be a different display name. And so we will create a new username that overwrites the previous one. So this usernames array will contain that previous one, which means then the next time we log in, the user's names array should only contain the latest one, because that one has prior that contains the previous. So it should only have the most recent one. So you should be back to count being 1, value being equal. If you ever get to a state where you have logged in on 2 different machines and they have produced 2 different display names, it's a rare edge case, but it could happen, then you will get a count greater than 1. But in that case, it'll just say, well, I need to resolve this, so let me bring it back to a single username fact where the prior is all of those candidates, and it gets
conflict is resolved.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a lot of logic to hit somebody with right up at the beginning, where they're just saying, okay, I want to log in, and then what the heck is this? So yeah, I want to figure out a nice way to ease them into that. But then once they've got this logic, then when they have a title of a blog post that they need to edit, and they say, oh, it's the same kind of logic, then it should become more familiar.
Yes, that means that the user will have to, if there are 2 display names, we will give him the choice to choose one or choose the third one.
Mm-hmm.
But we will not feed the third one into his Apple profile.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the profile is coming into the application. There's nothing that we can do to update the profile. So there's no mechanism in the application to edit your display name. But yeah, if this were, for example, a blog post title, then yeah, there would be a mechanism to edit inside of the application, and we would just save that back as another fact.
Yeah. But that means the next time we log in, username.count is already greater than 0. There is a single value which is different from the display name. So it will update the display name again with the new display name.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So that's perfect.
Yep. So within this application, you can pass this user around, and then you can have this same kind of query inside of your j.watch. And so that means you can update your view with this display name. And then if you're collaborating with other people and you get their user facts, then you could do the same thing with their user fact and say, okay, what is your name? And add that to your watch as well. So their names show up in your user interface. So that is what we have working. Oh, yeah, that's still doing the Windows one. I'm going to flip back to the Pixel, and I can't remember where we logged in last time or not. I think I did log out. But yeah, it's pretty neat to see that if you log in, then you kill the application. When you come back, you're still logged in because everything is saved to secure storage. So that means you don't need to see that experience from Apple until you have not used your application for
1 day.
Yeah, actually, because of the refresh token for a year, the refresh token is good for a full year. So we come back in, load it from local storage, and you're already logged in. Just keep using your app. So yeah, I think this is going to be a good experience.
Yeah, that's nice and easy.
And the demo worked. Yay!
Okay. I think Murphy is on my side, not on yours for the moment. Don't worry, I will send him back.
Oh, good. Very good. All right, Jan. So yeah, no stream next week, but then the week after you will be
Somewhere.
streaming from somewhere with a new background.
Yeah, normally, yeah, I think so. Anyway, if for one or the other reason I would not be able to attend, I will let you know in advance. But normally I should have internet, I should have everything working, so no reason not to be there.
Excellent.
Okay. Then I will, next week I will be watching, or earlier, your previous session.
Very good.
And try to catch up a little bit.
Yes. Yes, and
okay, Michael.
At some point I'll drop the other State of Jinaga, so we'll see that working.
Okay. When you do that, send me a little mail.
I will.
Okay. Good.
All right.
Then see you in 2 weeks' time.
Yes. See you then.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you very much.